The Federal Justice of Argentina ruled in favor of the province of Chubut and forced the national government to suspend the cutback of co-participation funds. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro met with social and political movements to receive their proposals on the so-called 7 transformations. And Chad will hold a presidential election on May 6th, ending a 3-year junta rule. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas received on Tuesday the Japanese State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Sujiki Chiyoto, at the presidential headquarters in the city of Ramallah. During the meeting, the Palestinian president briefed the Japanese minister on the latest developments regarding the ongoing brutal Israeli aggression against the Palestinian people, particularly in the Gaza Strip. Abbas also highlighted all the possible efforts made to immediately stop the war of genocide against the Palestinian people, stressing the need to accelerate the delivery of medical and humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. On the other hand, Japan announced the provision of $32 million in emergency aid in response to the deteriorating humanitarian situation in Gaza. Japan's decisions shows the Asian nation's commitment to diplomatic efforts to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza and to work towards de-escalation as soon as possible. Egypt's government announced the launch of a humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip from planes of its air forces. According to local media, Cairo is conducting an operation to provide aid, shelter and medical treatment to the thousands of Palestinians displaced by Israel's aggression in the Gaza Strip. The information highlights that the government of Egypt is preparing to establish a field hospital inside the Gaza Strip, as well as a 3rd refugee camp to care for Gazans who are victims of the Israeli violence. The Gaza Strip has been experiencing a shortage of food and medical supplies since the beginning of the Tel Aviv's bombardments and ground incursions, which have left more than 29,000 dead. In this context, the United Nations confirmed on Monday that the Israeli occupation forces are blocking access to people in Gaza, complicating the task of delivering aid in what has become a lawless war zone. According to the spokesman for the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, Jens Laerke, it has become almost impossible to carry out operations to evacuate the sick and wounded individuals and to deliver aid in the northern Gaza, and increasingly difficult in the south. On the other hand, the World Health Organization reported that the Israeli occupation has prevented all aid convoys planned to reach the north, the last aid allowed being on January 23rd.
Convoys that have been planned over the past 1 month, 2 months, have all but been denied. Very few have been able to proceed because we have not received the assurances or the accept of our notification from the Israeli authorities. On 25th of February, so that was Sunday, the Palestine Red Crescent Society and the United Nations evacuated 24 patients from Al-Amal Hospital in Khan Yunis, including 1 pregnant woman and 1 mother and newborn. Despite prior coordination for all staff members and vehicles with the Israeli side, the Israeli forces blocked the WHO-led convoy for many hours the moment it left the hospital.
In Bolivia, flooding continues on the border with Brazil as a result of the overflowing of the Acre River and the Bahia Creek. Local authorities stated that they do not rule out the possibility of approving the declaration of a disaster area, given the flooding in several neighborhoods of the Bolivian town of Cobija. In addition, they detailed that the current flooding exceeds the record registered in 2015, a level of 15.83 meters. Meanwhile, the media reported that the international bridge that connects Cobija with the Brazilian town of Brasilia is already impassable due to the rising waters of the Acre River and the Bahia stream. In Peru, 20 regions out of 24 forming the country have been declared in a state of emergency due to the increase in cases of dengue fever in more than 100% over the last few weeks. The fast rise of the epidemic has been fed by the unusual heat wave and the absence of winter over the past year. The government of Dina Boluarte decided to declare a state of emergency in all the regions affected by this disease, which has so far reported more than 17,000 confirmed cases. The Minister of Health, Cesar Vázquez, revealed that so far 32 people have died of the disease and 8 more cases are under investigation. Among the regions that will be declared in emergency are some in imminent danger of being overtaken by the number of cases that are occurring in these territories. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us.
Hola, soy Aisa García. Tú y yo tenemos una cita cada semana para conocer tradiciones, costumbres, valores, sonidos y ritmos, símbolos y el gran abanico de las expresiones culturales que nos forman, que tienen origen en el alma de los pueblos y nos dan identidad. Esto y más te contamos en Vidas, cada viernes, solo por teleSUR.
Welcome back. The Federal Justice of Argentina ruled in favor of the province of Chubut and forced the national government to suspend the cutback of co-participation funds. According to the ruling, the measure will be enforced until the refinancing of the debt is completed and for the maximum period of the current fiscal year. Likewise, the parties were urged to cancel or refinancing the government's debt with the province. The judicial measure was taken after the governor of Chubut, Ignacio Torres, demanded the return of more than $16,000 that the state withheld from the co-participation funds and which originated the conflict with the governors. For its part, the administration of Javier Milei assured that it will not accept the court's order and that it will appeal the decision of filing a versaltum to try to challenge the decision through legal proceedings. The president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, led a meeting with social and political movements to receive the proposal that emerged from the great national debate on the 7 transformations to boost the country's development. During the meeting, the president detailed that at least 63,000 grassroots assemblies debated the proposals of the 7 transformations. Moreover, 10,500 proposals were received, with the participation of more than 1,130,000 people. In this sense, the president pointed out that the first phase of the 7 transformations started with strength, light, and great quality.
El 15 de enero.
On January the 15th, when I called for the debate and the elaboration of a plan to consolidate our country in prosperity, growth and social recovery between now and 2030, I was sure that the people would not fail, that we were going to do it well. And the plan of the 7 T's has started in this first phase with great strength, with great light, with great quality.
The Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, rejected the statements made by the President of Guyana, Irfan Ali, who acknowledged that he violates and disregards his country's obligations under the 1966 Geneva Agreement. Through her account on the social network X, the Venezuelan Vice President expressed a confession of a party relay test. The President of Guyana, Irfan Ali, with total self-confidence recognizes 1. That he violates and openly ignores Guyana's obligations under the Geneva Agreement of the 1966. 2. That he unilaterally has a sea pending delimitation and grants concessional warranties to energy transnationals, breaking international law. Venezuela does not and will not recognize the fraudulent limits of this possession award, and he will never give up defending his rights. Our response will be proportionate to the gross violation of Guyana and its imperial masters. The statements of the Venezuelan Vice President comes after the President of Guyana, Irfan Ali, recently made a statement affirming that Venezuela has been building a military presence in the common border. At the same time, he indicated that there are no doubts regarding their borders, since Caracas had collaborated with the border settlement, ignoring the pointed out that in addition Caracas raised a controversy before the International Court of Justice claiming disputed territory. Venezuela reaffirmed its commitment to work closely with the United Nations in defense of human rights. During the session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, Venezuelan Foreign Minister Iván Gil denounced that the illegal coercive measures imposed by the U.S. directly affect the Venezuelan people. The top diplomat demanded the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights that its officials do not fall into politicization and work with Venezuelan institutions with a strict respect for sovereignty. Finally, he reiterated the denunciation of the illegal unilateral coercive measures imposed against Venezuela, as well as the evident double standards that prevail in that organization towards the countries of the Global South.
Up to the present, my country has been subjected to almost 1,000 unilateral, illegal, coercive measures and other criminal provisions used as tools to destroy our economy and unsuccessfully forced regime change in flagrant violation of international law, which has generated the loss of more than $32 billion in the last decade. It is a crime against humanity that we have denounced before the International Criminal Court and on which that court has taken 4 years without pronouncing itself.
During his speech before the international organization, the Venezuelan Foreign Minister Iván Gil reaffirmed the country's commitment to work closely with the Office of the High Commissioner to guarantee respect for human rights.
The government of Venezuela continues to be interested in maintaining high-level technical cooperation with this Office of the High Commissioner and to work jointly to guarantee respect for all the rights of Venezuelan men and women without exclusion. Fundamentally, those affected by the imposition of unilateral coercive measures.
In Colombia, migration authorities received on Tuesday Salvatore Mancuso, former second-in-command of the United Self-Defense Forces of Colombia paramilitary group, after he was deported from the United States. After Mancuso's arrival, the corresponding immigration procedures were carried out for his entry, and he was subsequently handed over to the National Police. Also, Mancuso accepted to be a peace manager in the national government's Total Peace program, committing himself to work in reconciliation and humanitarian work, especially with victims of disappearances in the nation and in neighboring countries. The Colombian migration affirmed that the fact marks an important step in the path towards reconciliation and construction of a lasting peace in the country, while reiterating their commitment in the process of reintegration and accompaniment to those who decide to join in the construction of a peaceful country. In El Salvador, although the electoral silence has not yet begun, the candidates closed their electoral campaigns for the municipal and Central American parliamentary elections to be held next Sunday in the country. This is the case of the current mayor of San Salvador, Mario Duran, who after the new reform of the municipal councils is campaigning to become the first mayor of San Salvador Centro for the ruling party Nuevas Ideas. Likewise, his main contender, Simón Paz, for the Farabundo Martí National Liberation Front, closed his campaign. These elections will be marked by the reduction of the number of municipal councils after a last-minute legal reform approved by the ruling party in the Congress, which reduced the number of municipal councils from 262 to 44. The government of Colombia and the National Liberation Army announced on Monday through a joint statement that they will resume peace talks and that there will be a new cycle in Venezuela. Both sides recognize the progress made to date in the agreement and are committed to jointly address these challenges to ensure the smooth development of the process. In addition, an exhaustive evaluation of the efforts and commitments will be carried out during the 7th cycle scheduled to take place in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela between April 8th and 22nd, 2024. For their part, both delegations expressed their gratitude to Cuba for its hospitality and support, as well as to the guarantors and permanent accompanying countries for their fundamental role in the development of the negotiations. We have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Spanish farmers in the northeastern region of Catalonia took to the streets again on Tuesday to protest the sector's struggles, blocking highways with tractors, including a busy highway linking Spain to southern France. Catalan farmers demonstrated earlier this month when 1,000 tractors converged on Barcelona. Beyond the sector's demands across Europe and Spain, Catalan farmers are suffering from a 3-year drought and are angry about water restrictions imposed by local authorities. Thousands of people marched through Madrid on Monday following a demonstration 5 days earlier in which 500 tractors entered the city. Since the start of the protests in Spain, unions and protest organizers have met several times with Agriculture Minister Luis Planas, who pledged to ask the European Union to simplify its common agricultural policy.
They don't allow us to irrigate. We have water in the wells, but they won't let us irrigate because then they penalize us. The drought situation is very serious. Our crops are dying, and we're not allowed to irrigate.
Seeing that things are not working, that the performance of the farms is not what it should be, that people are not making a living, the administrations put many obstacles in our way, and the large distribution continues to use its power to punish agricultural prices. The truth is that people are quite tired of a series of circumstances, and the drought is also adding to it.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov described as suicidal the European countries' announced intention to create a coalition to supply Ukraine with missiles to attack the Russian territory. The statement was made after French President Emmanuel Macron announced the creation of the 9th missile coalition during a conference in support of Ukraine held on Monday in Paris with the attendance of some 20 European leaders. Lavrov warned that the alleged coalition is intended to supply long-range weapons to Kyiv in order to strike Russia's hinterland. The top Russian diplomat sentenced that those who not only express such ideas but even allow them to arise in their heads should use those heads for more rational and safer thinking for Europe.
For the first time in all the discussions on how to further support Ukraine, Macron mentioned the creation of some kind of ninth missile coalition, which will include the supply of long-range weapons so that they reach deep into the Russian Federation, which in itself is suicidal. It seems to me that those who not only express these thoughts, but even allow them into their minds, they should use their minds for more rational, safer things for Europe.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Tuesday that his government did not justify the attacks on commercial ships by Yemeni Houthis, but at the same time he affirmed that the United States had no right to bomb Yemen for that reason. The top Russian diplomat also urged ensuring the safety of international navigation in the Red Sea through political and diplomatic means.
We do not condone the shelling of commercial ships, no matter how these shellings are justified. But we also cannot condone the aggressive actions that, under this pretext, the United States and Great Britain are taking against the territory of the Republic of Yemen without having any international mandate for this. We agree with our Yemeni friends that ensuring safe international navigation in the Red Sea should be a priority for all responsible members of the international community. And this problem must be solved through political and diplomatic means.
In the United Kingdom, a court decision on Julian Assange's appeal against his extradition to the United States is scheduled for March. 2 days of hearings in London's High Court concluded Wednesday as WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange appealed against his extradition to the United States. 2 court judges stated that they need time to make a decision in the case. If extradited, the WikiLeaks founder would face up to 175 years in prison for exposing U.S. war crimes. Chad will hold a presidential election on May 6, ending a 3-year junta rule. The announcement was made on Tuesday by the National Election Agency with a commitment to hold 2 rounds over May and June, with provisional results due on July 7th under a promised transition back to democracy from the junta rule. The agency said it would publish the list of candidates selected by the Constitutional Council on March 24th. In December, Chadians voted in favor of a new constitution that critics said could help cement junta leader Mahamat Idris Deby's grip on power as it allowed him to run for the presidency. Mahamat Idris Deby seized power after his father, President Idris Deby, was killed on the battlefield during a conflict with insurgents. His military government is one of several juntas currently ruling in the West and Central Africa, where there have been 8 coups since 2020, sparking concerns of a democratic backslide in the region.
The Agence Nationale de Gestion des Elections can now announce to the people of Chad that it is in a position to organize the presidential election before the rainy season. Election campaigns for the first round of the presidential election will be held from April 14th to May 4, 2024, and the first round of the presidential election will be held on May 6. May 21, 2024 will be the proclamation of provisional first-round results. June 5, 2024 will be the date of proclamation of final results by the Constitutional Council.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.